Madam Clerk, would you please begin the meeting?
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. All written materials to be discussed at today's meeting can be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Printing options are available upon request. The first item is item 1, the public hearing for the 1- and 6-year road and bridge improvement program for fiscal years 2025 and 2026 through 2030.
Madam Engineer, would you?
Gotta open the public hearing first.
Oh, I do? I have now opened the public hearing. Thank you for that reminder.
Thank you. I would like to start off as we do every year, and this is actually my 10th 1 and 6, so they seem to be going by pretty fast. Thank you. I have a number of staff members that are here tonight, and I don't know if our guests tonight and the commissioners know, but every year I miss somebody even though I have them on a complete written list, and they mock me for the whole next year. So this year, my 10th year, the joke is on them, because I've asked each of them to come up to the microphone and state their name and what they do for the county. So, ladies and gentlemen, moving along.
You've been called out.
We got taxpayers waiting.
Personally, that will help me remember names with faces. That's a helpful thing.
Good luck. There's a lot of names coming.
John Lemill, I'm the roadway design project manager.
John Berry, I'm the Lancaster County Surveyor.
Mike Bruckner, bridge engineer, Lancaster County.
Will Turman, roadway design engineer.
Jenna Vogt, one of the design engineers.
Dalton Hoffer, right-of-way manager.
Mike Hawley, I'm in our survey division.
Nick Buller, design engineer.
Jim Jurgens, right-of-way agent.
Doug Sindelar, construction project manager.
Chris Meyer, road superintendent.
Jays.
Curtis Hunt, assistant road maintenance superintendent.
Ryan Shaw, facilities and fleet manager.
Erica Timby, administrative services officer.
Bob Larson, maintenance supervisor for the grading crew.
Keith Tenhausen, assistant supervisor, District 4.
Eric Hunt, maintenance supervisor. Roger Husenfeld, maintenance supervisor of the southern half Lancaster.
Monet McCullen, project coordinator.
And I'm Pam Dingman, Lancaster County engineer.
And then Engineer Digman, I'll swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Okay, so I wanted to start off tonight with, I know a lot of people see me as the voice in the face of Lancaster County Engineering Department, but I am not the only voice in face. We actually have 118 employees across 846 square miles that meet Lancaster County's jurisdiction, and these men and women are dedicated every day, whether it's minus 20 or has a heat index of 120, to taking care of our roads and bridges and making Lancaster County a better place. Lancaster County's bridge inventory is made up of 289 bridges or bridge length box culverts. Just to remind everyone, if a box culvert spans more than 20 feet, it's considered a bridge. In addition, Lancaster County has 6,900 pipe culverts, including driveway culverts, and approximately 1,000 box culverts that are under that 20-foot span. Sometimes Commissioner Ammons and I refer to those as the baby boxes.
And I am aware of that. I have 2 by my place.
We also do maintenance operations. We have several, in fact, 8 material storage locations, 13 buildings around the county. We do countywide tree removals as well as winter maintenance. And we also have a rock quarry. It technically ran out of rock in the 70s, and we use it for storage now. And maybe someday we'll use it for something else. In addition to my other duties, I also am responsible ultimately for the repair of all county vehicles, the entire county fleet, as well as our heavy equipment. And fun fact that I never thought I would be as an engineer, I also get to be responsible for the gas stations. And so we do have gas at all of our facilities. Constituents might be interested to know that if we're working on one of our construction sites, we don't pay fuel tax, but if we're just doing general road maintenance, we do pay fuel tax just like everybody else. We take care of approximately 101 subdivisions, which is made up of 2,800 residential lots. And I do expect that number to increase, even though as a county, going forward, residential lots will be private roads. This continues to be a major drain on our overall system. Some of the challenges that we expect to continue to face in 25, 26 are supply chain and labor shortages, which continue to drive project costs up. Vehicles and equipment that are out of service. You know, I've been in front of the commissioners a couple times now talking about how an Allison transmission on a dump truck has a 2-year lead time, which technically for us that could span across 3 budget cycles. So that has gotten to be very, very intense. And of course, the parts on some of these things have a very long lead time too. Continues to be a concern for us on our long-term resiliency of our system. We continue to have open positions at Lancaster County, so if there's anybody out there that is interested in working for Lancaster County Engineering Department, it would be great for you to visit that HR website and see what kind of jobs we have. I want to talk a little bit about continued construction inflation. You look at this graph and initially you're like, well, hey, maybe inflation has slowed down a little since 2021. And indeed it has, but I think that's what is super important to note is that in all the construction inflation graphs, they've zeroed it out in that first quarter of 2021, where we were really experiencing as much as 26% construction inflation. Right now, we know we're in the 5% range, which is, of course, better than it was 4 years ago, but still, I'm going to give it a not awesome. This is Lancaster County's dashboard on our county culverts. I think it's important to note that we do, even though it's not required by statute, inspect our pipe culverts on a rolling basis so that we inspect those pipes every 4 years. What has that told us? Well, that's enabled us to gather the information and know that our needs for pipe culverts are currently 775 in need of replacement. Now, in my 10-year journey as Lancaster County engineer, we've gone from replacing 8 a year to 65 a year, and in some cases with ARPA money, a few more than that. But this still illustrates our dramatic need for pipe culvert replacement in Lancaster County. Also, looking at our bridge crisis that really peaked in 2019 with the bomb cyclone. At one point, we actually had 42 bridges closed, which was not awesome. We're now down to 2 closed structures, but in addition to that, we continue to improve on the overall status of our bridges. So we've gone from 58 scour susceptible and scour critical bridges down to 37. And of course, here's our closed bridge list. In all honesty, I'd hoped I could reach this meeting this year and say that we had no closed bridges. Indeed, it is probably the first time in many years that we've had less than 10 closed bridges. We have 2 closed bridges right now. One of them is under construction, and the other one is closed due to some flooding that we had earlier this year and some damage to it. This is a photo of it. It is obviously not in good shape, so we hope to come up with a plan to repair that bridge probably in next budget year. This is what our bridge health dashboard looks like. I think it's really important to point out the 6 scour critical bridges that are defined as scour critical by the Federal Highway Administration require an emergency plan of action to be open, which means we have to inspect them after certain rainfall events. It is a drain on the system, and it's difficult to continue to certify to keep those bridges open. The other and really important numbers are at the bottom of this slide. Bridges that are rated with a poor rating, 9. Now we hope next year to, if we don't add any more to that list, to be possibly down to as few as 5. The goal would be to get these bridges repaired or replaced in order to have a more resilient county system with our structures. The other number on the bottom that is super significant is over the last 10 years, the staff that has just introduced themselves to you have helped me replace 41 bridges. 41 bridges, so it's a really critical number for us. The bridges shown in the map are bridges that we have that are rated poor. We expect to replace Bridge F-181 next year, as well as S-59. We have Roma, the bridge that I really hoped to get replaced before you left office, Q-110, which is very close to your house, currently under construction, but not quite done yet. Just a note of the bridges that we replaced with box culverts last year. We did 3 bridge to box culvert replacements, and we did 5 overall bridge replacements. This was significant to Lancaster County, and it has made a real difference getting these structures open. Many of these structures had been closed for that full 5-year period because we didn't have the funding to replace them. In addition to that, we continue to work on our box culverts, and in particular our box culverts that are under 20-foot span. Many of these age all the way back to WPA, Work Progress Administration, and this was something that we built to be non-efficient, right? They don't really work. They're kind of aging out, and we know that we can replace those with standard culverts and get a much more efficient drainage system. Here's just a quick slide. I want to thank the commissioners for their attention to our pipe culvert crisis and allocating $2.5 million of the ARPA funds to pipe culverts. We had hoped that we could get 4 phases of pipe culverts with that funding. With construction inflation and pipe culverts being almost 300% inflation during and shortly after COVID, we only got 3 phases done. However, with our current year allocation, we have bid that 4th phase just as with regular property tax dollars. In this next budget year, FY 2025, we're proposing 4 bridge projects. 2 of them we have already bid, and we're happy that our bids have been coming in very well. One is out to bid, and J138 will bid probably maybe springish or this winter if I can get it all the way done. And then we continue to work on our bridge F201. F201 is a federal aid bridge funded through the MPO. It is located at approximately 27th and Arbor Road. And so very important bridge to both Lancaster County as well as the city of Lincoln. We are proposing to replace 1 large box culvert in this budget, as well as we're proposing several channel repair projects. So our channels in Lancaster County, they continue to get wider and deeper. We know if we can stabilize those around the bridges, that long-term we can keep those structures working for a longer period of time, which is what we're trying to do. Here is Bridge T166. We're proposing a culvert extension at this location. The photo shows how close the road is to the edge of the structure, which I have to say, you know, Lancaster County, for years, we really focused on the efficient use of those taxpayer dollars. So we focused on getting those structures to be as short as possible. We know now as engineers that that's not good for the environment when you're trying to keep channels stable, and it's also not necessarily the safest on our paved roads. Here is a photo showing some damage to bridge decks, and we have Mr. Bruckner with us tonight, who's our bridge engineer. I still wish we could come up with a little bit better system for determining what is a bad deck, but in all honesty, what we do is we have this chain on the end of a stick, and we run the chain across the surface of the deck, and you listen for the sound to be different to know that there's some delamination in that deck that needs to be fixed. Someday I know there'll be a more technical solution that is usable than that, but the pink areas show where that chain test didn't pass, and so that's why it's painted out on this bridge. And That's how we make that determination. What are we looking at for FY 2025 proposed bridge projects, replacement and bridge repair shown on this map and in your 1 and 6 plan. And then FY 26 through, I can't believe I'm going to say FY 30 on a 5-year projection, shows the map of bridges that we're going to need to work on for that period of time. And just for the constituents that are in the audience tonight, what we do is we take and we're required to do this by statute, the monies that are allocated to us in the current budget year, and we project that money forward in years 2 through 6. So it's really a 5-year plan. We are required to keep that plan fiscally constrained, so we can't include anything in the plan that we haven't been allocated funding for. What are we looking at for roads? Just a quick snapshot of what our road system looks like. 43 miles of dirt road, a little over 1,000 miles of gravel road, almost 300 miles of paved road. The metric that we've used for our roads the last several years has been ADT, average daily traffic. So we have 15 miles of road between 300 and 399. The reason we use the 300 and plus 400 number is we really know that's the range at which we need to get that road paved. Our studies in the office currently show once we're more than 300 cars a day, 300 vehicles a day, that we spend about $150,000 a year maintaining that mile, which means we could pave that mile every 4 to 5 years. So pavement only, no grading and structures, but that's still significant when we look at the overall maintenance we're putting in these. Super exciting this year is that we hope to be able to take the 3 miles of 98th Street, and I hope to be able to report to you that that was done. I do think we'll get 2 miles done this year. I think the other mile might slip to next spring. What does it look like for what we accomplished in 2024? We worked on 14 miles of county roads for engineering, 3 miles for grading and paving, and we did approximately 71 miles of pavement preservation to ensure that we're taking care of what we already have. When we talk about pavement maintenance, our metric has been to have all of our pavement on a rating of a 100-point scale be over 80 points. Where are we at right now? Well, last year we had about 49 miles of pavement that needed maintenance, and this is whether it be a fog seal or a chip seal or an overlay. We know that overlay is the most expensive, right? So if we can take care of the surface of our asphalt, we can keep that theoretically pothole and crack free in perpetuity. That doesn't necessarily happen in Nebraska, but we're getting closer. This year, FY 2024, our numbers were just a little over 45 miles. It kind of depends on what kind of winter we have and then how fast we thaw out, that we could be less. Just for measuring, when I started measuring on the 100-point scale 9 years ago, we had about 92 miles that needed to be. Why is that significant, that needed to be maintained? That's significant because as we have more aggressively maintained our asphalt system, it's actually gotten cheaper to maintain it so that we can use that money for other things. Proposed for FY 2025, just a little under 14 miles of engineering, half a mile of grading and paving. We're still determining what we're going to need to do pavement preservation on, depending on the winter. 22 and a half miles of right-of-way and utilities for future projects. That's a heavy lift for us. We know we'll have emergency repairs. We have them every year. We can't always anticipate where they're going to be at. And we'll continue to put a major emphasis on maintaining that pavement so that we can keep the traveling public moving. Now, I want to talk a little bit tonight about our federal aid projects. 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 6 years ago, you wouldn't have seen anything on our federal aid list, even though we were working on it. It takes a long time to get these projects in the hopper. I'll use Saltillo Road as the example. So I've been working on Saltillo Road as a highway safety improvement program project for 8 years. for 8 years. And we're not there yet. We're closer. We're in the right-of-way. Well, not technically in the right-of-way phase yet, but we're in the appraisal phases. And so hopefully maybe 18 months, 24 months, depending on how that goes. But why is this important? Saltillo Road is a federal aid project funded at 90%. Many of the other projects shown on here are funded at 80%. The project you see with the 5 denoting it is funded at 70%. All in all, it ends up being $65 million of federal aid for Lancaster County. This is a game changer for us from a safety standpoint, from an economic standpoint, from a traveling public standpoint over the next 5 years. And I just want to say that it really emphasizes a ton of work by Larry Legg, the assistant county engineer, and our roadway staff that introduced themselves to you earlier. These projects are tedious and they're very intense in order to get them done and get them done right. Saltillo Road from 27th to South 68th Street, ultimately I think it will probably end up being in the 13 to 15 million dollars a project. Why is that significant? Because Lancaster County has never done a project over 10 million before, and I'm going to talk about a few of them that are over 10 million tonight. 98th Street, Old Cheney to A, is the project that is under construction right now. Lancaster County was responsible for a little under $1 million of that project. However, we did split our responsibility with the city of Lincoln, who had annexed some of it, and we hope to continue to be able to work with Lincoln as our partner on these projects. 98th Street recently had its public information meeting. What we are looking at doing there is the suburban section, which actually is an island in the middle with 18 feet of pavement on either side. We're excited to partner with the city on this one also. We're kind of working through the process with this, and hopefully we'll be able to get comments back to people sometime in the next couple weeks. 148th and Holdridge is an intersection. This is HSIP funding, highway safety funding that has a lot of accident history. Some high traffic volume there, some high speeds. This project is also looking like we might be able to get it to the right-of-way phase by the end of the year. South 68th Street, and there's 2 South 68th Street projects, just like there's 2 98th Street projects. South 68th Street, south of Hickman, we've had the public meeting. We continue to work through the details of this project. It also could head to right-of-way and utilities in FY 2025, but in all reality, we think we're probably looking at construction in FY 2027. This has 2 funding sources in it. It does have Highway Safety Improvement Program money, as well as STPG, urbanized funds, and those are the funds, of course, that flow through the MPO. Other pavement projects, Fletcher Road. And so Fletcher Road was a project that we had federalized with the STPG funds. However, it has now become a HUD project, and it was an earmark project that Congressman Flood helped us get. We're super excited about this project, although I will say we haven't done a HUD project, and it turns out that, hey, a HUD does housing, not a lot of roads. So not a lot of entities have done economic development projects for HUD. However, I think opening up this corridor from 84th Street all the way out to 148th Street will be a game changer, not only for the Waverly community, but for the farm to market community that comes into Lincoln. And also, we have Northwest 56th Street. It's interesting, kind of maybe 200 feet outside of Lincoln's jurisdiction, maybe conveniently not annexed up to the road, maybe. This is a federal aid project right next to the new high school. We hope to get pavement in here. Obviously, traffic numbers have jumped dramatically since the school opened, and it's really important that we get this road paved. North 14th Street, from the city limits all the way up to the county line. This is also it's a combination between HSIP funds and STPG funds. What's interesting about this is we talked with the Federal Highway Administration as well as NDOT, in particular with Saltillo and South 68th Street. Each of those projects took about $75,000 to $100,000 in engineering to develop just to get to the highway safety plan part of it. So with that being said, we went back to the two organizations and we said, hey, everybody knows these roads are dangerous, and it's of concern that we're spending so much time and assets trying just to get initial funding for these. Is there something else that could be done? And I really appreciated that NDOT and the Federal Highway Administration listened to us, and they said, yeah, we'll make a statewide program that any county road that is paved that has 1,000 cars a day and drive lanes that are 11 feet wide or less can opt in to this program. And they sent us this email, and we were kind of anticipating the email. And they sent us this email, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. We filled out the forms. We emailed them back to NDOT at 10 o'clock in the morning. I thought, well, now we wait. We actually received an email back that they would fund this project with HSIP funds before noon. And so I'm not going to be able to get it built before noon, and we're still obviously working through the federal aid process to get the design and environmental done. But nevertheless, it's one more road in Lancaster County that we can bring up to modern safety standards. And then there's the piece of South 68th Street. North of Hickman, there is 1.5 miles that wasn't improved when South 68th Street was widened, actually from the South Beltway, kind of a little more south. What we're hoping to do is get that section in and upgraded. Also, again, another project in combination with highway safety improvement dollars and dollars that flow through from the MPO. What does that look like for 2025 for us? This is the map that it looks like, and you see the purple. Hey, the purple is that we're doing engineering, which I'm always a little sad that we're working on the road and the public might not see that we're working on it because people in the public want pavement. It takes us a while to get to that pavement. But when you see the purple and the green, the purple means we're doing the engineering. The green means we're working on right-of-way and utility for those corridors. And so it's still super exciting.
And Pam, there are actually two shades of green on that last slide. I think the dot is Holdridge Street, 140.
The dot is Holder Street. We're getting closer with that one, Commissioner
It's
Best.
closer than the
It's
light green.
closer than the olive green.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good.
As we look at our FY26 through FY30, this is what the map looks like. We have a number of other projects that we're talking to people about. Of course, East Beltway right-of-way continues to be a challenge in this area, and I do appreciate that the commissioners have stood with me as we continue to find a funding source for the East Beltway, which is a critical construction project for Lancaster County. Other projects that I would like to talk about just briefly, federal aid grants that we've gotten that are outside of NDOT are with the BRIC grant. And the BRIC grant is a hazard mitigation grant from FEMA. We will use this grant internally to study 30 bridge projects and how we could better stabilize the bridges in the future. It's kind of phase one of what we hope to be many BRIC grants. As you look at this map and you see that 3 mile zone, the city has been studying their drainage basins with BRIC grants probably for 25 or 30 years. And the county, we really need to get caught up to that. And so hoping to use the work that's already been done in this area to build upon that and really lock our infrastructure in for the future. Safe Streets for All is a new bipartisan infrastructure bill program that is actually directly with the Federal Highway Administration. So it doesn't go through NDOT. What we're going to do with our Safe Roads for All grant is look at safety improvements to the 148th corridor and the South 68th Street corridor, as well as an updating of our overall safety plan that we have for our roads. So, and with that, I thank everyone for coming tonight and listening to super exciting engineering things, right? On a wild Tuesday night. I know it's harvest season and that people have a lot of other things that they need to do. So thank you, everyone, and we'll open up the public hearing, Commissioner Best, or continue it.
Well, thank you, Pam. And having sat through 6 of these now, I can just say that the maps have changed over that 6 years. There's been a lot. So we'll now open it up for public comment. Anyone wishing to speak will need to come up and sign in and then be sworn in. And you have 5 minutes.
I guess I'll go first.
Somebody's got to lead the way, man.
I guess so. My name is Sandy Smith.
I'll swear you in first then.
Sorry. Oh, got right.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please sign in and state your name.
Okay. I'm Sandy Smith. I live at 18303 North 162nd Street. Address. Been coming here for a long time, way before any of you were here. Just a little history, okay? In 1999, November, North 162nd Street from Highway 6 to Ashland Road was being considered for pavement. Has a high road count and accident rate. The design work on the 2 bridges in the south section are nearing completion, and from there we will go to federal government's wait list, perhaps 1.5 to 2 years. That was in 1999. That was with Don Thomas and Bob Workman. In 2000, the county board signed a contract today with Lewis Engineering of Lincoln, who will provide engineering services on 162nd Street from Highway 6 to Salt Creek Bridge. It's to be completed by March. March of 2002, we signed contracts for the last phase of engineering work on North 162nd near Davie Road. As you know, the bridges on 162nd are now finished and not only look great, but are much safer. That was with some federal money at that time. In 2004, we're on a potential paving list. So we moved them up a little bit, yeah. And then in 2019 to 2023 on the 6-year plan again, we are on the plan again to be on pavement. Seems like we've done a lot of engineering, but not pavement yet. Pam did a wonderful job explaining everything, and I want to say thank you, Pam, for all the work you've done, to the bridges especially. That's been tremendous help in the county. I just want to bring forward again 162nd Street. I do realize that it's some federal money that we're waiting on. Can you answer a question? Has it been submitted?
I think we can. This is not.
I know you're not supposed to.
No, I mean, that's a different type of meeting, but tonight
It has been submitted,
Okay.
and I was in contact with Congressman Flood's office today, and what's holding us up is something that none of us can really guess on, and that's when will Congress and the Senate pass a budget package?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
I understand. I just was
We'll just do
curious. So then we won't know anything until something like that happens now. Okay. All right. That's really all I have.
Well, thank you for being here, Sandy, and for continuing to remind us
I'll
of
keep
this important
working at it.
project.
I'm getting older though, Rick.
Somebody will have to pick up the mantle for you. But, and thanks for taking care of Steve, too. We appreciate that. Anyone else wishing to make public comment? There's, as you can see, you can do it without scars, so. That's no problem, sir.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please sign in and state your name.
My name is Jeff Kaiser. I live on South 25th Street. I'm here on behalf of Camp Sunshine. No stranger to the county, and so I know we've worked with Pam on some projects that we've done, and so just I guess by way of a little bit of history, Camp Sunshine started 18 years ago with 15 kids on our family's rural farm. And what's happened since has really blown all of us away, that we have seen it grow to the point where Camp Sunshine served over 4,000 campers this past summer on 3 different campgrounds, 2 locations in Lancaster County, 1 in Gage County. So some really great things are happening for a program to grow like that. I have some comments from some parents if you'd like me to read those, but just over and over again, just really affirm to us the power of what happens, the growth that kids experience, the confidence they get. What we run into is that one of our biggest constraints is obviously safety factors for the road. South 25th Street is a gravel road that approaches the camp property. And our special use permit currently allows for up to 300 participants a session. And so we've made a lot of adjustments with that through carpooling, bus transportation, and a lot of things that we can do to reduce the amount of traffic on that road. But we also, because of the growth, there's a lot of things that we could do that we're not able to because of where the road currently sits as a gravel road. And so we just see ourselves as a service to the community, spring break camps. There's a lot of economic impact that camp has, I think, on Lincoln when you look at the child care factor that families get. I brought I don't know if anybody can see this, but kind of a saturation map. Will this show?
And it'll broadcast. Yeah.
Sweet.
Let's give it a second. There you go.
A couple different ones here. So we're talking about South 25th Street, south of town, and from a standpoint of just the road itself, you could look at...
Turn it 180 degrees so we can read it. There you go. Thank
Perfect.
you.
I guess for some context, you can see Holmes Lake is right in here, and then we kind of move south. Here's Costco, South Lincoln. So some of that's just to show that this rural camp down at the end of South 25th, it's not just that neighborhood that's impacted. There are hundreds and hundreds of families from Lincoln that come down to drop their kids off at camp and benefit from the program that's there. That's a little bit of Lincoln, just one more to kind of give some context. This blows out more to Lancaster County approximate perimeter. It's hard to see. There are some other gray marks, so it is notable on here that Camp Sunshine services families from every corner of the county, and probably every neighborhood in Lincoln are influenced by that. This map is just from this past summer. If we were to pull data for the last 5 years or so, it would just continue to expand. And so I guess I look at that as we set priorities for paving and all that. I know there's a lot that goes into it that's way above my understanding, and that's why you guys are here. But would just like to kind of put in a plug for South 25th of the need for the improvements for that road. Number one, for the ability to expand the services offered to families in Lincoln, in the county. Also then for the safety factor, we get dust complaints. We have purchased a water truck. We are watering the road 3 times a day during the summer just to try and help with dust mitigation. And so we're doing everything that we can do, and we're just, coming before you guys to ask if there's some stuff that the county can help us with as far as road improvements in the coming years. And I know it's not an overnight fix, but would like to find our way maybe into some of the priorities for that as we move forward. So,
yeah. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate
you guys.
Anyone else wishing to make public comment? Anybody thinking about it need a little more time to consider your options? I see no one else.
I'd like to maybe say something over. We'll let him go for
We
it.
have someone coming up. And then, yeah, we'll gladly.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your name
My name's David Moraz.
and go ahead.
I live on South 25th Street, just around the corner from Camp Sunshine. And it's a great camp. I support the camp. Love having it next to us as a neighbor and all. The road that it's on, South 25th, is one of the worst stretches of gravel road, in my opinion, in the state. I travel all over the state inspecting road and bridge projects. And I would say it's in badly need of repair in that it needs the base subgrade just needs to be worked up and stabilized, because it seems like after every time the blade operator does the maintenance work and blading it and grading it out, I don't know how frequent he does that. It seems like it's 2 to 4 weeks. After that, it seems like after he does that, within a day or two, all the washboarding is back, just from all the heavy traffic, especially during the summer months, during Camp Sunshine camp season. So I guess we're begging the county, is there anything that they can do? Can they revisit this stretch of road from Saltillo south to Camp Sunshine or Roca Road? Can that project or that stretch of road be looked at for a possible road repair, additional gravel, anything that can make it not so washboardy, especially during the summer months? I get it's a gravel road, it's dusty. I get that. There's only so much you can do with that. But if there's anything you can do with the washboarding, that would be much appreciated. I would say it just seems like every winter, we get snow. The snow plows blade off a lot of rock. And then in the spring, it seems like when we get the heavy rains, the road gets really mushy and it gets soft and muddy, and you have to add gravel to it. It seems like every spring. And so I think some of that might be eliminated if it had a good subgrade, subbase. It wouldn't get so mushy. Just my opinion. So, but I appreciate if you all would take another look at that stretch of road. It really gets a beating from all the traffic. And again, I love the camp there, and the traffic doesn't bother me. It's just having to ride on that road all the time that gets so beat up, and it just doesn't seem like it's maintained very well. So, thank you.
Thank you, David. Seeing no one else wanting to make public comment, I know, Matt, you said you wanted to
Yeah,
say.
I'd just like to make a comment. First of all, I would, just as you're looking at your plans, talking to you, Pam, but also to you as a department, since we've got so many people here, I would really encourage us to seriously look at that South 25th. It doesn't hit your normal traffic count needs because it's very seasonal in use. It's an area of the city/county that has really changed a lot with the South Beltway, as well as some addition of some other, there's a winery out there and stuff on that road now that has really affected traffic. So I'd really encourage that. The second thing, which is, as I kind of think about priorities for roads and bridges and the engineers department, the second thing, my second priority is I think about the engineers department actually would be looking at we've done a facilities study to look at the buildings and the shops, and I know that's not the total content of tonight, but I want you to know, I want the community to know that I think that's got to be a really high priority for us. We've got some buildings that are in incredible misrepair. We've got some that are in incredibly poor positions in the communities that they're in. And so we really need to get serious about addressing some of the facilities, shop issues that are faced by the engineers department right now. And then the third thing, which I've heard from the community, I've by far have heard the most about South 25th Street. Obviously it's in my district. I've heard a lot of talk, not only from the couple people that are very in favor of Camp Sunshine, some other people that are very down on it because of the traffic, but also the planning department as well has had to lean in on that one pretty hard. But another one that I've begun to hear some interest about, which I mentioned, you weren't here when we talked about this, Engineer Dingman, the other day, but I know there's some interest in potentially adding a roundabout north of Norris on 68th Street. And so I do think that's something that we should at least explore. And I understand that would be a cost to the county directly. That couldn't be something we could add on to the federal project. But that is something that would be helpful for me, and I think us as commissioners, to know what would the cost of that be to help slow the traffic down coming in and out of Norris School. Obviously, there's a lot of traffic going in and out of there every day. So those are just three things I had made note of that I wanted to mention tonight. So
appreciate that, Commissioners.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that how much more positive these maps looked that you shared with tonight than to kind of reiterate what Commissioner Vest said about those earlier meetings in previous years. And it's really a testament to the amount of work that you all have done these last few years. It's pretty incredible when we look at the numbers and look at the maps.
Yeah, I've been here for 12 years, and to be quite honest, we have this particular hearing has been just really, really super. There's been so much going on, and I'm exceptionally pleased by the number of bridges that are being done.
Yeah.
So thank you so very much, Pam, and thank you to the staff. You've done a tremendous amount of work, and I've seen you out on the rural roads. I do travel the rural roads quite a bit, so much appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah. So just in closing then, I just want to remind everyone, 1,046 miles of gravel roads, 43 miles of dirt roads, and 296 miles of paved roads. And we haven't touched on a lot of the big issues that are in front of us too. We have the East Bypass in front of us, we hope, but right now the East Bypass is a county road known as 148th Street, which has alarming amounts of traffic on it as well. And I know 162nd, those folks have been waiting a long time for their turn. The road's been prepared. So there's just a lot of needs out there that the engineering department faces every year. Kudos to all the work to get the federal funds into our community, which helps move projects forward at a faster rate. And a big thank you to the taxpayers who continue to fund the engineering department and the work of Lancaster County, because they're the ones who have to pay for all the improvements and maintenance that goes on out there. With that, one last chance for anyone wishing to make a public comment. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Schulte,
yes.
Vest.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, everyone.